Hey, my beautiful people, praise the name of the living God, Jesus Christ. And if you're new here, you are most welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, you are welcome as well. So do not forget to hit the subscribe button and click on the notification bell that every time I post a video, you are the very first one to be notified. And so today's message is kind of a broad one, and it will be out in 4 parts, and it is called The Crowd. The Crowd. And so I'll be discussing with you how the 4 types of people in the Bible navigated, how they managed to push through the crowd and reach whatever they wanted to reach, and push through the crowd and met Jesus. This crowd never stopped them from meeting Jesus. And so this is what we're here to talk about, because they approached the crowd in different ways, but they all reached Jesus. They all reached their purpose. And in this case, the crowd are hindrances. The crowd is all the things that hinder us from reaching our purpose, from reaching what God has called us to do, from reaching our success. And the crowd could be your friends, your family, your fellow believers. It could be the sickness, the brokenness, every kind of bad thing that is, blocking you. It can be anything. It can be blindness. It can be whatever that is really not good in your life that could, stop you from reaching Jesus or from reaching your success. And today's message is entitled Push Through the Crowd. And we are talking about the woman with the issue of blood. From Mark 5:25 to 34. And so I will read as we discuss. So track with me, keep with me till the very end. It reads, "And a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and had spent all she had, yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came up because she thought, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed." So let's first stop right there and discuss that. I am looking at this woman because in Hebrews, if you had such a type of a disease, you were considered to be unclean. You don't touch anything that someone would touch, because once you touch something and someone touches it, they become unclean. Like you're an outcast. You're supposed to be somewhere locked, and even if you came out, bells have to keep, ringing, I am unclean, I am unclean. But in this case, we look at this lady. She's been bleeding for 12 full years. And she is quarantined in her home. She probably can't walk, because you can't bleed for 12 years. Going to doctors and nothing is improving. Instead, it's getting worse. And you can still move. It means she can't even move. She can't stand upright. She's been hurt enough. She spent all she has to doctors and nothing has happened. It has instead worsened. And sometimes the things doctors can't do, the things money can do, the things that no one can help apart from Jesus. And we have to be desperate enough to do away with self-pity, because this woman is desperate enough to not have pity on herself, to not hesitate. She's like, if I keep here, I'll die. If I go and people see me, they're likely to kill me. But she's like, you know what? If I stay, I will die. If I go, I might die on the way. But if I don't die, I am sure I will be okay. So she had to do away with the excuses and choose to go. And what is surprising is this lady doesn't have a personal relationship with Jesus, but she had probably heard about what miracles he had performed. And I was like, you know what? I believe you can still do it for me. If you could do it for other people, I believe you can still do it for me. Let's keep going. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak, because she thought, If I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. Immediately, her bleeding stopped and she felt in her body that she was freed from her suffering. At once, Jesus realized the power had gone out from him. He turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" You see the people crowding against you, his disciples answered, "And yet you ask, who touched me?" But Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it. Then the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell at his feet and, trembling with fear, told him the whole truth. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." After this woman had faith and thought, "Oh, I could move, I could meet him, and in case I just touch his clothes." He's saying I could touch his clothes because she does not want to be seen by the public. She's probably veiled. She's dragging herself down through the crowd. And when he touches Jesus, Jesus notices. Now this is it. Every time we touch Jesus, every time Jesus touches us, we can never remain the same. You can never remain the same. You change immediately. And that is what happened to her. The bleeding stopped. And I am wondering, why would Jesus be like, "Who touched me?" Because we know he's all-knowing. He knows everything that has happened. But he still asks. I want to believe that Jesus wanted to bring out the power. He wanted this person that everybody called unclean to be seen that she is now clean. She is healed. And she wanted that to come from her. That's why she was asking, "Who is that? What happened?" And so she came out. She presented herself. And I just love how Jesus calls this woman. She's like, "Daughter," like your name changes, your identity changes the moment Jesus touches you or the moment you touch Jesus. Because she's no longer called the woman with the issue of blood, but she is called daughter. And that is the same thing with us. Every time we touch Jesus, our names change, our identity change. It changes from where people have known us, no creation, to all these beautiful names. You are changed from barren to a mother. You are changed from barren to a mother. You are changed from broke to wealthy. You are changed from denied, from rejected to favored. You are changed from sickly to healed. You are changed from all these names, and you are getting all these beautiful other names that Jesus will give you the moment we touch him. And so, there is something I want all of us to really understand. That this woman was lonely for 12 full years. She was at this time desperate. And sometimes we need to actually be tired of the situation. We have to be desperate enough to give it all it takes. If we believe in something, let not the crowd distract us. Let not the crowd distract us from what we've believed all our lives. Do not let the crowd tell you what you need to do. We have to want it bad enough to push through the crowd. She pushed through the crowd no matter what. And here I get to learn a lesson, like when someone is sick, when someone has, a physical problem or even a mental issue, they do not need isolation. They do not need condemnation. All they need is help. All they need is comfort from us. Let's push through the crowd no matter what. Let's fight for what we believe. Let's give it all it takes. This woman had all the excuses not to go, and we would understand. You'll be like, "Oh, you're sickly, really, you can't move." Yes, your excuses could be genuine, but they aren't good enough to stop you from pursuing what God has called you to pursue. So that's it for today's video. Watch out for part 2. I love you all. Bye.